friend of mine out in Las Vegas is purchasing a new gun, and he's really new at it, really green. No offense, dude. But he wants to know how to field strip his semi-automatic and how to go about cleaning it. So he's getting an XD9. I don't have one to show. I just have my M&P, but it's real similar. I mean, you guys know that. But so this video is for any new novice out there who might not know how to do it, and especially for my buddy, because this is the only way I can get the video to him. So this one's for you, Jeffrey. Okay, before we get into the field stripping part and cleaning, actually doing the cleaning of the gun, I want to show you the cleaning kit. Do yourself a favor, go out and get a cleaning kit. You can buy individual calibers for things like this, but these are better because in the future, if you buy more guns, different caliber guns, you'll already have the kit. And you can find these, dude, at Walmart for like $19, I think. It comes in multiple calibers, okay, different sizes for different calibers, and they're all marked right on, they're marked on this part right here. They'll tell you what they're for. You can buy nylon brushes or like these brass brushes. I like the brass myself. They work for me. I've never had a problem with them. That's up to you. That's your call. It'll come with a cleaning rod, okay? I'll show you the brushes. This is a bore brush. This goes down the barrel of the gun. They also have a little attachment, basically unscrews, okay? This is for a patch. After you get done scrubbing the barrel with that bore brush, you can get pre-cut patches if you want. They sell those in bags. What I do is I just take a t-shirt and I cut them into like 2x2 squares. And then basically it's the same thing as threading a needle. See that little space right there, that little spot? You take that cloth, you put it through, and you pull it through like you're threading a needle. And there it is, okay? Real simple, real easy. And this connects to the cleaning rod. So get yourself a good cleaning kit with some good brushes. Also, you're going to need some kind of a cleaner or solvent, lubrication for the gun. Everybody on YouTube now knows that I love this frog lube. This is the best stuff ever, bro. I highly recommend this to you. It's all in one. It's a cleaner, a lubricant, and a preservative. So basically you put this on the gun, you wipe it down, you let it sit, you wipe it off. It oils it as you wipe it off, and it preserves the metal. You don't have to have solvent, you don't have to have lube, you don't have to have oil. All in one. Real easy. I think this was like $11 or $14 for 9 ounces, and this will last you a lifetime. And if you want to know how to use this particular product, just go to my CLP video, okay, and I explain everything there is to know about how to go about using this, so I'm not going to get into that right now. Great stuff though. Highly recommend it, dude. Alright, bro. This is how we're going to go about field stripping a semi-automatic. In your case it'll be an XD, in my case it's the M&P. Very similar. First things first, always clear your gun. Remember, to take that XD down and this M&P, you have to pull that trigger to release the slide. So safety first, man, remember that. Cardinal rule, gun is always loaded. So we're going to clear it. Release the magazine, open the slide. Okay? Visual look down into the chamber. Take your finger, reach in, make sure the gun is unloaded. Nothing in it. Okay? Now, from that point, this is your slide stop that holds your slide open, the one to the rear. You're going to have let me give you a close-up. Alright? This is your slide release. Yours is in the same spot. Mine I have to pull down to field strip this. Yours, you're going to flip up this way on an XD9, okay? So, basically what you do, gun is unloaded, it's cleared, it's checked. You would flip yours up, basically okay? Only yours would be going up. Hold the slide, pull back and hold it, and just let it shut slowly, okay? It should look like that. Now is when you have to pull the trigger to release the slide. Some guns you don't have to do that. Your XD9 and my M&P you have to, basically. Okay? So now I'm going to pull the trigger. Point it in a safe direction, even though you know it's unloaded, always in a safe direction anyway. It's good habit, good practice. Pull the trigger. Now the slide will pull right off. Okay? Here's the frame. Set the frame aside for now. We'll get back to that about cleaning in a minute. This is what yours is going to look like. Very, very similar. Okay? Front of the slide, rear of the slide. This is your recoil spring. It connects to your barrel. Let me see. See how it connects? Now what you're going to do, I'm going to get it even closer here. You put a little pressure away from the barrel. And yours will be a captive spring also, okay? So this spring is on that guide rod. So it's one piece. So basically you just take your fingers, push that way on the spring, and slowly just hold on to it because it's under pressure. If you let that go, it's going to go flying, okay? It pulls right out. Now you can put that to the side for now. Now your barrel, that's all that's left. To take your barrel out of the slide, just basically push it forward very lightly, just pull it back out. So you're going to do that, okay? Let me see if I can get it better. And as I jam mine up, okay, so basically just slip it forward a little bit, pull up on it, and slide it back out to the back of the slide. Okay? Real easy. So now you have your slide. That's what yours is basically going to look like. Very, very similar. You have your barrel. You have your recoil spring. Now when you go to reinstall this, you have to make sure what end goes where. Keep an eye on that. Alright? And then you have your frame. And your frame will look pretty much similar to that. Not much different. So now we'll get on to the cleaning part. Gun's all field stripped. It's ready to be cleaned. What I normally do is I always concentrate on the barrel, the recoil spring, and the slide first, and I do my frame last. And that works for me. I'm not saying that's the way you have to do it. You can do it any way you want. This is just a kind of a guideline for you. So the reason I do the barrel, the slide, and the recoil spring first is that's usually the parts that are the most dirty. So I take the frame and just set it aside for now. So we'll start with the barrel. Okay, so basically what I do is I take some of my cleaner and get the rag sopping wet with it. I always go from the chamber end out to the out of the barrel. Okay, and what you do is you take that patch like I showed you earlier with the cleaner on it, and you go into the barrel. Now as you're sticking it into the barrel, what I do is I twist it, okay? And the reason I do that is because, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's rifling in this barrel, okay? And it twists. And what happens is all the fouling, the old carbon, and if you're shooting lead bullets, lead gets built up in there. If you're shooting copper bullets, copper gets stuck in there. That's why I kind of twist mine down the barrel. So from the chamber end out, I take my patch and I stick it in. And I spin it as I go down, okay? Now you want to be really careful. You don't want to take this rod and bang it along the insides of your chamber or inside your barrel. After time, you'll damage your barrel. So try to keep it as straight as possible, okay? So just basically push it through till it comes out the other end. Once it comes out the other end, you just pull it back through, spinning it until it comes out this side. I do that 3 or 4 times. I get it sopping wet in there. I take a little more cleaner. I do the whole outside of the barrel, the feed ramp, the whole thing, and I just let it sit. And the reason I let it sit, and which is true for any cleaner that you use, the longer you let it sit, the easier it's going to be to scrub away all the fouling in the barrel and on your slide and recoil spring. Okay? Now your recoil spring is going to be like this. This is called a captive recoil spring. This does not come apart. This is on your guide rod. You cannot separate these, okay? So what I do is I just take a little bit of oil or cleaner, wipe it down, set that aside also. Now the slide. What I do with the slide is I take Q-tips. Okay, I dip the Q-tip in the cleaner and I get into all these little crevices in here. All these little spots. And you'll notice on your slide there's a little channel, these little grooves, okay? Those ride on the rails on your frame. So there'll be some crud and carbon and stuff in there too, and you want to get those out. What you want to be careful of though, if I can give you a view, let's see if I can use this as a pointer. That little hole right there, your firing pin, okay, or your striker mechanism on a polymer gun, anyway. That's your firing pin. You don't want to sop cleaner all in there. You want to go real light in that area. I just go around it real easy with a towel or a Q-tip and just clean all that out with a real light. You know, don't get sloppy with that. So basically, apply all the cleaner to the inside of the slide. All right. Now some guys don't like to use Q-tips. They feel that it leaves the fuzzy cotton part in the gun. I've never had that problem. I've never had the issue. They do make Q-tips on longer sticks with a little more strictly made for cleaning guns. I've used both, and I can't tell the difference between either of them. So that's your call, but that seems to help get into the tight spots with it. Also, what I do is I'll cut the tip of a Q-tip off, okay? And then what I do is I flatten that out a little bit, and then I take a cloth and put it over that, because that Q-tip will not fit in the grooves of that slide, this groove right here. And that seems to get really down deep and get all the crud out of there. So I coat that with cleaner. Outside also, I do the whole outside and everything. And I take those three parts and I set them aside and let them soak. So then what I do next is I do the frame, okay? I don't sop this with cleaner. I don't think there's really a need. I mean, it gets, some carbon gets built up and unburnt powder gets built up in here a little bit. But I take more or less like a damp cloth or damp Q-tips, get down into the grooves all in here, okay? And then what I do is a lot of times I'll take the gun where the magazine goes in, and I just take a patch and take my finger and just rub it in there. Pretty dry. I mean, I don't use a lot of oil and lube in there. There's really no reason for it. I do that until, you know, I keep switching my patches out until they start coming out clean. And you'll know when it's clean enough. So like I said, I get all these areas. Now the only areas that I really kind of get very well are these rails, okay? I clean those up good. I clean these rails up really nice. I wipe the outside of the frame down just with a dry rag just to get the crap off of it. So now back to these three parts, to the slide, the recoil spring, and the barrel. And what I like to do is I go back to the barrel. I take that bore brush like I showed you earlier, okay? Now that that's been sitting in the solvent or the cleaner has had a time to kind of eat away at all the fouling in here, I take this, I dip it a little bit more, and then the same thing. I go from the chamber end out, I take the bore brush and go in, spinning as I go. And again, be careful, don't keep hitting these sides. Go all the way through, all the way back. Do that a bunch of times until you feel like you've gotten all the fouling out of that barrel. Once you do that, I switch back to my patches, okay? I put a clean patch on here, a nice clean dry patch, and I go through again. And I keep changing this patch out until that comes out clean. Once that comes out clean, the inside of your barrel's done. Then I wipe this down with a towel on the outside. And again, what's really good about this CLP is it's a lubricant in here, so you don't have to clean the gun and now then lubricate the parts that rub. This takes care of it. You clean it, you wipe it down, you're done. So now the slide has been soaking. You can use an old toothbrush or a cleaning brush that comes with the your cleaning kit, and I get all in here. I wipe all this stuff out, up in here, the rails, and then I just take Q-tips and some patches and go through, and again, you just keep going through with the patches, wipe it all out, and just keep changing these. Throw these away, and when they start coming out clean, you're finished. Get the outside nice, clean all that up. Set those aside, do the same thing to your recoil spring, and you're ready to reassemble the gun. Alright, so we're on to the reassembly now. We're going to concentrate on the slide first, and then we'll put it all together, okay? So just take the slide, put it to the side for now. You're going to reinstall your barrel first, okay? You're going to notice two holes. A bigger hole and a small hole. And obviously, the barrel can only fit in one. That's the bottom one when your slide is upside down. Alright? Let me turn this. Take your barrel, and what I want to tell you, dude, is if you have to force anything when you're taking this apart or putting it back together, you're doing it wrong. Stop. You should never have to force any of these parts back in. They slide right in, okay? Take your barrel, take it at an angle, put it through that bottom hole in your slide, and it'll slide pretty easy. And again, if it starts to jam up, just stop doing what you're doing and wiggle it, and it'll come back out, all right? So real easy, you just slide it in, and the barrel will drop. You'll hear it drop into the top of the frame. Then that's all you have to do is slide it back. It's in place, okay? Now what you're going to do is you're going to reinstall your recoil spring. Remember, when you take this apart, before you take this all the way out, look to see which side goes where. You don't want to get this backwards, okay? It'll screw up your gun. It won't fire, basically. So alright, so then you take your recoil spring, and in that top hole that I showed you, same thing, at a little bit of an angle, okay, you're going to put it in. And what this spring connects to, if I can get a halfway decent view here, is it's going to go, you're going to notice there's a little notch right here in the front of this, in the front of the barrel. See that little notch, that little half circle, the half moon right there? Hopefully my camera's picking that up. This part is going to rest in that spot. Okay? So make sure the barrel's all the way back in the slide. Take your spring, put it in the top hole. Now you're going to have to put pressure on it this way to get it down into there, okay? And remember, this is under pressure when you start pushing on this, so if you slip, this thing's going to go shooting that way, so be careful. It's not real hard, okay? Once you do it once or twice, you got the hang of it. Alright, so push forward on the spring until it drops into that notch, and you'll feel it drop in. And that's what it should look like. Right there. Alright? So that's all nice and tight. And when you put that in, what I do is I make sure it's right in the center. I like it lined up perfect. Okay? So that's our slide. We're going to take our frame. Okay? Now your takedown lever is still going to be facing up. Mine faces down. These little rails, if I can get I can't really get a good picture of it. These rails, okay, slide into these little notches, into these rails, okay? So what you do is real gentle, you line those up, just like this. And again, if this thing starts to bind up, stop doing what you're doing and just pull it off nice and easy. Don't force this on. You should never have to force anything. And you'll feel it drop into the groove, okay? Now basically, you just, like I said, just nice and easy, slide it back. When you get the slide back, flip the switch up and hold the slide back. On my M&P, this automatically shuts, okay? Yours probably, I don't think yours does on the XD if I can remember correctly. So yours will still be up in the forward, in the top position. You want to slide it this way and shut it. Once you do that, then you can shut your slide. And one more tip, when your slide is open and there's no chamber in the round, no round in the chamber, sorry, a little backwards there. All right, never just hit the release. You don't want to do that. You don't want to send this thing crashing in without something being in that chamber. You can damage your gun. It's not a good practice. So when there's no ammo in this gun, I never flip that switch down. I always just pull back on the slide and gently release it. Okay? Once you're there, basically give it a slide test. Pull it back a few times. If you get it like this and it's binding, something's wrong. You have to take this apart again. But if it works smooth, there it is, your finished gun. Alright, so if you have any questions, call me. I have no problems talking you through it on the phone. Like I said, dude, once you do this 2 or 3 times, you'll be a master at it. It's real easy. It's a couple little buttons, you pull the slide off, 2 little things come out of the slide. Alright? Peace.